again, everybody. Today I'm out there tinkering on the old Buick. Now, if y'all remember, I put some larger tires on this car. One of them laying over there. It's a mud tire, and it was for better ground clearance without having to modify the suspension. A couple of things I've ran into though, and I'm going to go ahead and modify the suspension just a tad. So let me show you what I got here. Okay, so I took the strut out. That's the strut, by the way. And that's where it goes. It goes in here, bolts in, up here on top. And now I spaced it out a little with this pulley. I just put this in between, like where it goes there, like on top of there, just to see. That gives me an inch. I want a little bit more than that, probably inch and a half, 2 inches, something like that. But now, how am I going to get it? Now, one thing about this whole setup is the way that it is, with the strut bolted on. The tire, as you can see, it rubs. Now, I did some percussive adjustments on it here. You can kind of see the hammer marks, and that helps some. But what I'm wanting to do is, just like I did the back, and which I did off camera, so y'all didn't see it. Okay, you can see how these two holes right here line up with these two holes. Now that is for your spindle. That's what holds everything together. But what I need is, I need this hole about, I don't know, right in here somewhere. Let me see. I'm going for 2 inches. Oh. If I'm going for 2 inches, then, wow, I guess that means I need the hole right here. Which means this hole needs to be, I'm going to have to drill this one right here. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but there's a problem with that. There's a lack of material here to drill through. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to drill this hole, make sure I get it perfectly straight, and the other hole I'm going to drill in a separate piece of metal that I'm going to put on here that's going to extend down. And that should allow the strength to go from here all the way down, and I'm going to actually weld the new piece of metal on, so we have actual welded metal on down through here. And what that's going to do is, that's going to push all this down. And if y'all remember what I said in the last video, you don't want to get too much angle on your CV shaft. Now, I've looked into it, and apparently on these CV shafts you can go at apparently a 30-degree angle and still be okay. And we're not even going to go to 20. I think at 2 inches droop, which it's drooped farther right now than 2 inches, and you can see it's probably about 30 degrees right now. So it will come up probably, well, I can't pick it up, suspension stiff, but it will probably be more of probably an 18 to 20 degree angle going into the transmission. So at that angle, our CV joint will be safe. But yeah, I was actually going to try, which I don't think is going to work, because there's just not room to do it, and it's not really practical. What I was going to try, I've got them over here, and I actually measured and everything, and I can do it on the back pretty easy. I was going to stick some air shocks on it so that I could air it up. I've got 4 of these, which now they'll probably just, I'll probably put 2 of them on old green and 2 of them on my red truck. But I was going to use the air shocks to be able to adjust the ride height up and down. I'll put a shot of what it was going to look like up. I don't think we're going that high, but yeah, it's kind of like that. The back is already lifted some. You can see there's actually even more room between there, and that tire wouldn't even fit on there before. So I did the same thing on the back that I'm getting ready to do for the front. So let's see if we can get this done and see how it works. Alright, so I skipped a little bit, as you can see. But all I really did was I took, you can see the original hole right here. I had to weld these on because I wanted it as strong as I could get it. But I took 2 pieces of angle iron, I extended them down, bent them to where they contoured around the shape of the knuckle here, or the spindle, and then put the bolts in. Now I put my tire on actually and set it on the ground, and I took, where'd it go? Oh, over there, my square, set it up so that the tire was straight. At first it wasn't, so I had to come back in here, loosen these 2 bolts up, and move the whole thing. This was before I welded it. I moved everything in so that the tire was just like the other one. It's the same angle, so the camber is the same as the other side. And once I got my camber right, you know, pretty much straight up and down, maybe it's got just a little bit of camber, but not much. Now I welded that all in good and solid, but now there is a little bit, if I do need more camber, I can either loosen this one up and then get a little bit of camber by loosening this one, and it's kind of egged out just a little bit, so I can move it some, but then once you tighten it up, it's going to hold. And also I can go up here and I can move this around a little bit up here to get more camber, but I think my camber is okay. Now one more thing that I want to do, now it's moved, this all moved down 2 inches. Oh yeah, one reason why I had to bevel this, the corner of this angle was getting into my tire. It was going to hit my tire, so I had to bevel all that back so it'll miss the tire. Because originally the tire would be in here, so now that it's down here, I had to kind of bevel it to make it fit. Now this right here, I don't like that. It's not tight, it's loose, but I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this bolt loose, and I'm going to move this whole thing down, probably to this hole right here, because that will give a little bit more slack on that brake line. I don't want to put too much pressure, because that's going straight. Once it turns this way, then I'm afraid that's going to put too much pressure on that. But let me get that moved down. We'll get the wheel on it and set it down and see what our results are. Okay, so I just moved it down here and put a self-tapper in it. That ought to hold it. It's got me a little bit of flexibility there. Throw this tire on here and go from there. All right, so got the tire back on, and let's see if we made any progress with our little modification here. Put this jack down. Already got the jack stand out from under it. I think it's up. Yeah, it is definitely higher. It's not super high, you know. It's looks good with those tires, I think. This height makes it look a little bit better. Now we can go to this other side, and we can see it is, well, this side went up a little too, I think. Let me give it a little jiggle there. Yeah, it's back down. You can definitely tell a difference. Okay, so let's get our tape measure if we can find it. Okay. I found it. That's the problem with having a camo tape measure laying on the ground. But anyway, Not even sure where I got this, but anyway. Okay, so we started out with 2 inches. Now we are at 4. So that's pretty good. And if you look here, there is plenty of room between this tire and the bottom of the spring. So that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Now, one thing I am curious about, which I don't think it's changed that much, is the drive shaft angle. Let's see what we got here. Oh, not bad at all. Not bad at all. That is perfect. It's got a little bit, but like I said, you can get up to 20 degrees. Actually, you can get up to 30, but I'm not going to 30. All right, so we have one side of the front done. Now, it's getting a little late today, so we're going to pick this back up in another video. But now I know this today was pretty much experimenting and just seeing how I can make it work. So there was a lot of stuff that I didn't film, and now when we do the other side, I'm going to film it and I'm going to show you what all I'm doing and you know, how it's all going to work and all that kind of stuff. So if y'all are interested in hanging around with me and seeing me do it, then the rest of it is coming pretty soon. And actually, let me spin this around. Actually, with this 4 inches that I've got here, it's going to go up more, because when I do this other side, and raise it up, now there is a pretty beefy, if you can see it, torsion bar or sway bar, whatever you want to call it. It's right there. You might be able to see it. That is not factory. That's not the factory sway bar. I put that on a few years ago, and I'll tell you what, that brought this car to life. This car will absolutely handle curves now, just with doing nothing but changing out that bar. But now what it does, it's got a lot of spring. It's basically a torsion bar. So while this side has raised up, this side down over here is still at stock height, and it's holding it down. When I get this side raised up too, it's going to raise both sides. It will raise this side up more. I would say I'll probably get at least 4.5, maybe 5 inches out of this once I do this other side. And I think that's going to look pretty sharp. Or it's going to look goofy, but yeah. Anyway. Okay, so what am I doing with the Buick now? Well, I guess now that's our family car pretty much. This one is going to be my work car and my little fun car to just try experiments out on. And I don't want to hurt it, because it is a good car. Now the transmission, it still gives a little shudder every now and then. It's not bad, but it gives a little shudder sometimes. It's got a lot of miles on it, or well, enough miles on it, 160,000. And you know, it's been drove up down the creek a lot and up and down these hills. This area has a lot of hills, so yeah. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift it a little bit more, probably in the back, get a little rake, not crazy, but a little bit of a rake to it, because it had a rake before. Now that I lifted the front, it kind of leveled it out. Now I got to do a little bit more rake in the back. Now, what else am I going to do? Well, we're going to do something with a bumper, maybe a winch. We're going to fix this thing up as a off-road machine, and when I get it done, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to do a fun little video and do some testing with it. And I think it's going to be a kind of fun project. Yes, it's going to be weird, but it's going to be fun. So, if y'all like weird and fun stuff with automotive, hang around and hit that subscribe button down there and just follow along with this little journey, and let's just see where it goes. I mean, yeah, I know it's crazy, but let's just see where we can take it. Anyway, I guess that's going to be about it for this little video. I appreciate everybody watching, and I'll see y'all on the next one.